So I'm picking one of three questions from my YouTube post that I said, hey, what video that I should make. And apparently, every week I've noticed somebody, not the same person, somebody always asks, what about the empty houses in the birth chart? What does that mean? On the most basic level, I'll be like, okay, if you know the astrology 101, you don't worry about if the houses are empty. You simply go where the sign Lord is placed, right? Let's say, for example, your ninth Lord is in the fourth house. So that means your ninth house things are coming through the fourth house. Your teacher, your divinity, your higher knowledge, your wisdom comes through the mother or people within the home. Okay. But see, from experience, I used to focus on the same thing. Like, so what? The houses are empty. Just look at the lords. But then you get to find out something when the houses are empty. And how do you find this out? Like, for example, if I was to give you an example of how do you know, what book have you read? It's not book. Then how do you know? So when people, let's say, get a reading, and then they're like telling me about their life. When you're sending me your email, you're saying this and this happened. Why did this happen? What's the solution for this? And literally always I will get 7 to 8 different, bullet points about what's happening in life. So what I realized, when the other, let's say you, for example, most of your planets are within 3 or 4 houses. You've got cluster of planets in the third house, fourth house, fifth house, maybe the sixth house. That means your seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, and the first house are empty. Second house is empty. What this shows, number one, okay, such houses become vulnerable. They become very vulnerable. How do they become vulnerable? For example, let's say if I have 3 properties, okay, and I'm here at my main property, and my 2 properties are far away. One is 2 hours, one is 4 hours, the other is 6 hours, and they're empty. I'm going to be constantly worried about those houses. Like, oh my God, I hope a squatter doesn't come in. Oh my God, I hope nobody vandalizes that particular property. So there's a natural worry comes in that, I hope my property is fine. Because when you have a tenant, okay, when you have a tenant, let's say I got tenant, I'm Jupiter, I'm sitting in Leo, and I have a tenant in one of my properties, which is Sagittarius, and I have a tenant in the sign of Pisces. Okay, I'm like, I've got tenants there. They're not there to make any kind of disruption. They're not. They've signed the lease before they entered my property. Okay, I'm worry free. You know, because they know they have to pay rent every month, and their credit is on the line. But when it's an empty house, there is a bit of a vulnerability. The other thing, for the individual, not the chart itself, for the individual, those houses lack luster. Okay? As an astrologer, I'm not seeing lack of luster. But for the individual, there's a lack of luster in that house. So, for example, like I said, 9,000, let's say 9,000 is empty. Lord of it sitting in somewhere, 12th house, 11th house. A person will always feel, I need this and I don't have this. I lack this and I don't have this. This thing is too far from me. I need this. For example, a person can have a family guru. Right now, 9th house is guru, teacher. Person can have a family guru. But the thing is, their whole thing will be, I don't get to see my guru. Why is it that we have a family guru and then we're only going to go see this person once a year and they don't even want to see us because they're traveling and I don't have enough funds to go see where they're at and we only get the blessings once a year. So naturally, a person feels like it's a lackluster house. That's what happens with the empty houses. Then what happens also, just like the first thing I said was a tenant or the owner is going to be worried when the house is empty. How's my house? What's happening? Is anybody sneaking in there? So what happens is when the houses are empty, the other planets are taking responsibility of that house. That means you actually do get squatters. When your other houses are empty, you're getting squatters. What are those squatters? Those are the transiting planets that come into those particular house. You will see when a planet goes over a planet, you're able to withstand that thing. You're able to handle it. When planets go over an empty house, even though they may not do something, you're constantly now worried about that house for no apparent reason. Let's say, for example, your 10th house is empty and you suddenly got Ketu transiting the 10th house. Ketu transiting the 10th house does not mean that one is going to lose their job or get their job cut. But what happens is, because it's a squatter coming into your empty house, you're now suddenly worried about your career. Subconsciously not knowing about astrology, nothing. You're like, oh my God, I think I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose this position. Oh my God, I'm not going to get this promotion that was promised to me. Because a squatter is coming for 18 months. Or a squatter is coming for 40 days, 1 month, 2.5 years, and you have no control over it. Hey, you're sitting in the third house. Okay? So whoever comes in your 10th house, they're far away. They're the squatter. Now the only time you're able to control, assess, and withstand the things related to that 10th house transit is when the owner themselves are transiting into the 10th house. So now even though they have a squatter, they have somebody just living without their permission, but the person is there to watch out for their property. So if, let's say, a squatter is going to put a fire onto a property, the owner is there right there to distinguish the fire. So if you really want to know on a more deeper and transcendental level, when you ask if empty houses do something, this is what they do. And they do it on a psychological level. Like they say about astrology. What do they say about astrology? As above, so below. Because this has been happening for eons. On Earth, we have homes, rental properties, tenants, and squatters. And we have people who come and violate the property. These things are not something invented here and now they're being related to things up there. No, they're happening up there. And we're only the string puppets playing the exact same morphed game into this particular plane. So empty houses do this. But is it something that is going to do it? Like, for example, Ketu's transiting into the 10th house, right? Is it really going to make you lose your job? No, unless some other parameters are there. But what it's going to do, it's on the psychological level, is going to make you think like, oh my God, I don't like this tenant, or I don't like this person that has come into my house. They're squatting for 18 months. Oh, please, 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 don't damage my property. Fine, you can just stay there. I know I cannot be there right now. I'm out climbing the Mount Everest, but please don't damage my home. Just stay there, fine, and leave happily. And you say to this person, if you leave in a good condition my house now, next time when you come, okay, fine, stay. These are the type of psychological deals you make with these empty houses. Okay, so hopefully this has helped. And again, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below to get amazing type of videos. And if you want to know where your planetary placements are, which houses are empty in your particular chart, go to astrology.com, where you'll find my books, reports, consultations, and link to my academy, Magam Astrology Academy, where I'm currently pretty much have some of the best courses out there. Nandinadi course, easiest astrology, Venus and wealth. Oh, I'm sorry, wristwatch and wealth, not Venus and wealth. That's in the Nandinadi course, Venus and wealth. Anyway,